Hello. Um, well done. Okay. Oh, okay. Hello. Hi, how are you doing? Oh, I think you might be on mute. Oh, there we go.
Hello, hello everyone. Hello.
Hello. It's so good to have you here. And do you know what? I feel like we have the most amazing, I've scheduled everyone so perfectly, even if
I
I do
know
say
you're doing a fab job.
that. But
You're
we are.
production coordinator.
Honestly, I feel like I have the skills to be able to do it if I wanted. But actually, also, because one of the big things that we're going to be talking about is the fact that all of the film and TV industry is not just London centric, it is across the UK. And you are repping Manchester and that kind of surrounding area. So, Ellie, tell us a bit about who you are and what you do. Scream Manchester, go on, go for it.
Right, thank you. Hi everyone. Well, my name's Ellie Metcalfe. I work for Screen Manchester, which is the official film office for Manchester City. I am the crew facilities and skills manager, which means that when a production visitors the city, I help the line producers find local crew, encourage them to use locally based crew, as there is a lot of talent outside of London. And I also encourage them to use local facilities. And then part of my kind of skills remit is to approach productions and say, have you thought about having trainee programs? We can help you find traineeships and help people to fill those kind of gaps that are needed on production.
I love that. That will all be music to the young people's ears watching, especially those who are in and around Manchester. Traineeships, guys. Okay, so tell us a bit about your own journey as well, because you have actually, obviously, now you're helping people kind of get in and you're helping, encourage more around the area, but you were working in the thick of it, weren't you, for ages?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I started in television in the early 2000s, giving away my age. And yeah, I desperately kind of wanted always to work in the TV industry. I knew that from a small child. I did go the university route where I studied film, television, and radio, and I actually kind of studied along the radio route at first because I thought, oh, that's kind of radio drama, that's where I wanted to be. However, I got work experience on a program that was just starting at the time called Flag It. And I started being just like a day runner on that program, and then realized really quickly that television was the way that I wanted to go. I actually did start in the kind of like the factual entertainment department of TV at Granada Studios in Manchester when Granada was there. Everyone, I think, because we're a community in Manchester of talent, I think everyone that you'll go, I started at Granada, but that was like the big thing at the time. And then I started on a program in the regional section of the TV when kind of like the channels had to produce a certain amount of regional television. And then one day I thought, well, I've done work experience there for a little bit. What's my next move? And I just went round all the departments with my CV, just putting it on producers' desks, even if they weren't at their desk. I'd just leave it on their desk and just hope that someone kind of contacted me through that program called 60 Minute Makeover was being made, and I got my first role as a runner on there, and then worked my way up really. So went from runner and then over the years, obviously, onto different programs, and then ended up as my role as a producer director for factual documentary TV. And then at a point in my life, I decided freelancing was kind of not for me anymore, and tried to find a more kind of sustainable role within production, which is really difficult. And then I worked for a social enterprise trying to get people into television, young people into opportunities. And then that transitioned to my role at Screen Manchester, where I am now. So very long journey, but finally got to a brilliant role where I am now.
Oh, amazing. Also, there's so much to take away from that. I think actually one of the things that I love about that is, like you were saying, you put CVs on people's desks, and that's kind of how you hustled. And I think, the equivalent of that for, I guess all the students watching is essentially DMing people on LinkedIn. Like that's kind of,
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it obviously is a different time now, with being able to kind of message people, but absolutely, because it just shows. I would say there's a fine line between too much persistence in messaging someone and also kind of just putting yourself out there, and just to say, look, that I'm so passionate, this is my interest, I'd really appreciate if we could grab a coffee, I know you're busy, can I send you my CV? It is the way to do things. I would say if you were ever able to meet up with someone or go to a networking event, take your CV with you. I think that was a key thing that I always tell people, is to be prepared, because you never know when you're going to bump into someone. Even if you start up a conversation on a train with someone, you kind of never know what industry they work in. I think the Thursday 6 o'clock train from London to Manchester is always quite busy with people in television.
Oh, very good hot tip there.
Yeah. So, always have your CV, always be ready, because you never know who you're going to meet, I'd say.
Absolutely. And remember, guys, it's not actually even necessarily what's on your CV. It's the demonstration of how enthusiastic you are about it, and like how willing you are to kind of go outside of your comfort zone to show people. But yeah,
Yeah.
fine line, or not a fine line, but a clear line between
Yeah.
confidence and stalking. So just,
Yeah.
stay on the right
Yeah,
side.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. You just, what you want to show your passion and what you want to do. But yeah, people will get a lot of messages and they don't really want to see the same person every day.
Every day's a bit much. And also, like, the other thing that I took away from your story is, like, regional TV, also, like, flog it, for example, just being like, I think when we talk about TV sometimes, we do forget that there's the kind of daytime TV side of things. It's not just Game of Thrones, which I think
Yeah,
just comes into my head. Like, there's all of this localized kind of, I guess, more everyday stuff that goes on, which is an amazing way to build up networks and contacts, isn't it?
absolutely. I mean, I think as my role in the film office, we deal with all sorts of production. So everything from a student film might come through our office, all the way up to a high-end television show, like we just finished Gentlemen in Moscow, things like that. So I think it's really important to know that if you get the opportunity to go and be a day runner on a production, it's really important to go, yes, I'm going to give that a go. I think if you're very limit yourself to, I only want to do high-end television, or I only want to do independent film, that's brilliant, but at the same time it does limit you to what you can put down on your CV and what experiences you have. There will become a time in your career where you'll have to choose a path of which way to go, but very early on I would say get as much opportunity as you can.
Absolutely. I don't know, but I feel like personally, I prefer to be a runner on, like, Come Dine With Me, because it'd just be full of such hilarious people. That would be like a better vibe, I think, almost in a way, than high-end TV, where everyone's
Yeah.
very, very serious about.
Oh, absolutely. I remember fondly my days of 60-minute makeover, hiding behind like a potted plant, waiting for the homeowners to come home to see that we've done their rooms without them knowing. It's very different to walking down the corridors at Space Studios now and seeing all these different high-end drama people walking around. But it's great, you learn. I learned how to do everything from like call sheets to location filming to, so it's really important to gain all of those skills before you move on and move up.
Absolutely, yeah. Good foundation, absolutely. So, okay, sorry, I got so interested in your story that I haven't asked you any of the questions I was thinking. Screen Manchester. Okay, so you've kind of delved in briefly in terms of what you do, I guess, as a concept, as a business. Tell us more about how you help young people get a foot in the door, and I guess what could you be offering to the young people watching?
Yeah, great. Well, Screen Manchester, as I say, we're the film office for Manchester, but we've recently gained some BFI funding, which is fabulous. And we've formed what we call Screen Alliance North, which is our film office, Liverpool film office, Screen Yorkshire, and North East Screen. So our kind of like official film offices that cover the North in general. And we have all invested to plan like traineeships and training programs, and to help people get into the industry. So part of what we do as a film office, as I said earlier, is approach productions and say, in order to fill our skills gaps and retain our industry with people coming in, we need to offer traineeships on productions. And as film offices, we can part fund that as 50% as well. So that helps the productions as well. And we can secure traineeships on these productions in all sorts of various departments. So we've done recently camera, sound, hair and makeup, costume, grip, post-production, AD department, kind of any lighting. So kind of any department that you think of goes into production. We will offer the productions, can we place a trainee with yourselves? And they will be from the local area of each film office. So obviously ours is Manchester, and they can do a traineeship with them up to 20 weeks. So that means that, you know, you get 20 weeks training in each department, and kind of it's a really great starting point for people to kind of kick off their careers.
Absolutely. And also like the kind of peer-to-peer networking of that will be amazing too. Like all of you will be entering the industry at the same time.
Yeah.
What a great kind of solidarity.
Yeah, no, it's been fab. I mean, we've been running it now for 2 years, and our kind of first cohort have now moved on to their jobs within the industry, but they've also made like independent films together, and they bring themselves to a little community that way. So they support each other through their journey into the industry.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. All of that, I'm sure. So there's something not just happening in Screen Manchester. It's the North Corridor,
Yeah,
fantastic. So
yeah,
there's opportunities for people all over the north.
yeah,
That is one of the big things, obviously, as I said at the beginning, that we really want people to take away from this. It is not Southern centric. The
yeah.
film and TV industry is across
That's
the UK, and skills shortages. So
yeah,
obviously, this funding is to plug the skills gap.
yeah.
Um, Tell us a bit more about, I guess, the skills that you will be gapping, not gapping.
Yeah, yeah. Well, as part of the film office and all the film offices across the north, we run crew databases as well. So we encourage people who are living in the area to sign up to the database, and so we can really track what those skills gaps are. I think kind of Lauren said it really well from Sky Studios. You know, there are gaps like grit, accountancy is massive. It's like Lauren said again, if you look at the kind of roles that go, the titles that go after any production, you can see how many people and how many different roles that there are. So I think when you're interviewing someone and they go, I want to be a producer, I want to be a director, that's brilliant, but there's hundreds of people that come to you as an office and say, I want to be a producer, I want to be a director, and you think, have you looked anywhere else? Like, there's so many different opportunities, especially these days as well, because we're growing as a production industry. There are new roles coming to light, like you could work as a sustainability manager, and because each production now has to hit their sustainability kind of credit, and it's really important for them. So there's roles like that. There's roles as access coordinators, which ensures that the production is following all access needs for what their crew may need working on that production. And intimacy coordinators, that they're all such new and important roles that if you get trained in something like that, you will be in demand. But then again, when I work at Space Studios, there's production roles such as scenic artists, where people think, gosh, what's that? Well, it's, you need to make and paint a set, and the artistic value behind that. So any kind of roles like that, please have a look at everything that rolls at titles and see what may be of interest, because that may be a way in.
Absolutely. And I think what I'm kind of taking away from that message is, if everyone goes in trying to be a producer director, like you say, then 90% of people won't get to do won't get to do those jobs, and then they'll end up dropping out of the industry completely
Yeah.
and be disheartened, when actually there were so many roles that they could have gone for, but they just overlooked the.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think as well, like, look at the department that would be the starting role. So if you wanted to, work your way up through the camera department, can you go in as a trainee assistant? But then you might go, oh, actually, I like a grip rather than a DOP. And I mean, they're all interconnected, obviously, within that department, but it might just be that you'll go into a different direction because you've saw when you're on the floor, something that you never knew about. So yeah, go for it.
Okay, well, we have run out of time, but super, super quick. If someone wants to go and find all of these roles, where do they go again?
Oh,
Screen.
they can come to Screen Manchester website. All the details are on there for our crew database and everything to do with Screen Alliance North, so we can connect you to all the other film offices in the North.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Ellie. It's been a pleasure having you here.